Hmm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 149. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels send thee to thy rest. Apparently, I don't have anybody else actually join the stream, so I think I may actually put the Jitsi chat link out there on Twitter and see if anybody joins. So, pardon me if I'm silent for a brief amount of time while I do that. One of our members wanted to have a chat tonight, but unfortunately, they don't seem to be on, and there's not a whole lot in the show notes. I'm currently down my main machine because MacBooks unfortunately have incredibly fragile keyboards, it seems. Maybe I'll get some people in the chat. Let's see who all's actually listening. Oh, crap. All right. Hey, Toby, here's the link if you want to join. Yeah, I named this particular stream after a guy I was following on YouTube and Twitter, Prince of Queens. Unfortunately, the gentleman is apparently his real first name is Sam. His cousin contacted me to see if I had any memorabilia of him. He passed away a couple weeks ago. It's one of those weird ass accidents. He was in his 30s, but apparently I've heard multiple things. He changed his medication or something, or they changed his medication. Got dizzy in the shower, slipped, fell, hit his head, and then died a little bit later from complications. But I listened to some of his stuff. He was on episode number 5 of Irongeek Cast. So he's actually the first person who's, to my knowledge, who's engaged in this cast who has passed away. So condolences to his family and rest in peace, brother. We'll see if anybody else joins in. We don't have a whole lot of show notes. I believe it was Frank who wanted to have a cast tonight, but he doesn't appear to be on. And the show notes are rather scant. So hopefully someone joins in and has a conversation with me. Other than that, I'm just chilling out for the new year, relaxing. I got a little Camelot mead here with me. It's a little brewery, Oliver Winery in Bloomington, Indiana, makes something called Camelot mead. They make a lot of other wines and so forth, but apparently this is kind of one of the cash cows. Is this very straight mead? It's how do I define it? It's just mead. It's like plain Jane mainline mead. If I was to introduce anybody to what mead is, I would give them this first, rather than something from. There's a company called B Nectar from near Detroit, Michigan. They make a lot of mellow mells. A mellow mel is essentially a combination of both honey, water, fruit juice, and fermentation. And you get all sorts of different flavors. There's also different types of mead that have additional things like I'm probably totally mispronounced this megalith. It's like a spiced mead. We add some spices into it. But Oliver Winery's Camelot mead, while I say it's plain Jane mead, I don't mean it's bad. It's good stuff. But I'm just saying it is just a pure representation of what mead is. So I would definitely encourage people, if they want to try mead for the first time, introduce them to that. I have people who know that I love mead, and they bring it to me at conferences. Unfortunately, the most common mead you will find in the United States is I don't remember the name of the company, but Viking's Blood. And I'm halfway thinking it's fortified because it's like 15 or 20%, I think, alcohol by volume, and it's really syrupy. It's the most common mead you can find in various liquor stores, but I do not recommend it because it is a little jarring to the senses. But if you can find this, it's pretty good. There's also Chaucer's Mead, which you can find in some liquor stores, which I would also recommend. But I'm all alone in this cast with nobody else. I cast alone, all by myself. Well, this sucks. Now hold on to show notes. So, a fellow jester is having connectivity issues. So someone's trying to join and failing. Or maybe they just succeeded. I don't know. I'm doing this from a different laptop than I normally do. My MacBook, unfortunately, is in the shop. I don't know how many of you all have a recent MacBook from like 2016 forward. A few problems. First of all, USB-C for everything. Come on, the old MagSafe, what was it? I think it was MagSafe. Power connectors were much better than USB-C for power, I think. Also, the MacBook has been thin enough for years and years and years. You really should just have a real Ethernet port, a real HDMI port, and a couple USB-A style ports on it. I don't get the point of trying to make it thinner and thinner when you're basically trying to make it a MacBook Air, but still not as thin as a MacBook Air. Let me check on the chat. I would join Tea Maker. I would join, but my teeth hurt. Yes, Jason, I am the only person on. I put the link in the chat, and I think you're in a different chat with me where you can find a link if you just want to chat for a bit. But I'm basically just shooting the shit. I don't have a whole lot to say myself. And we really only have one item in the show notes. Internet of Things device vendor Waze says a server leak exposed data, including email addresses, camera user IDs, and Wi-Fi SIDs of 2.4 million customers from December 4th to December 26th. Oh, there's another Facebook item. Facebook rolling out health checkups. HIPAA doesn't apply. Would HIPAA apply to a non-health company? Shit, I don't know. But let's look at the first article. Let's see what we have to read here. WIZE. Waze. I swear I'm going to pronounce it at least. No, Chrome. I don't want this website to know my location. It doesn't need to know my location. All right, Waze, a company that sells smart devices like security cameras, smart plugs, smart light bulbs, and smart door locks, confirmed today a server leak that explodes details of 2.4 million customers. The leak occurred after an internal database was accidentally exposed online. Waze co-founder Dongxin Song said in a forum post published over Christmas. Song said the exposed database, the Elasticsearch system, was not a production system. However, the server was storing valid user data. The Elasticsearch server on technology for powering super fast smart search queries was set up to help the company sort through the vast amount of data. The Waze exec explains. Okay, so a bunch of people's smart devices owned. Lovely. Well, I guess I'll just respond to YouTube chat for a bit. Does anybody have any questions on YouTube? This is going to be one very boring stream. Let me check with my Twitter contacts, see if anybody is actually doing anything tonight. It sounds like someone just joined. Maybe I'm not alone. Hey, Jake.
How's it going?
Doing okay. Not a whole lot going on the chat, unfortunately. I went through one little bit of news item, and I'm just celebrating the new year. I'm off today, so I'm just sitting in my house chilling.
That's cool.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you? Yeah, I saw somebody else.
What the hell's going on? Someone have an argument behind you? Oh, someone's asking me how to join. Jessica. Let me see. Yeah, I named the stream what I did just because it kind of shows the fragility of a person. You don't expect some guy you randomly know online to just pass away in the.
Yeah, that's sad. Who was it again?
He goes by the name Prince of Queens on like Twitter and YouTube. He
Prince
did a
of
lot of
Queens?
content. He was a gay gentleman. Um,
Prince of
we did a
Queens,
lot of
you said?
content on that and feminism and politics and so forth. And it was interesting to listen to him because he went from being. It was kind of interesting to listen to because he went from being a bunny bro to a supporter, which was an interesting. It was just interesting to hear what his thoughts were.
Yeah, Prince of Queens died, you said?
Yes.
Oh, no. Prince of Queens was cool. He was on the cast a couple times, I remember.
Well, at least one time. I know episode 5. He was on episode 5,
Yeah, I remember that
and
one.
yeah, apparently, unfortunately, they changed up his medication or whatever. He got dizzy or something. I've heard slight. This is the basic story. With slightly different versions being told. He got dizzy in the shower and fell, hit his head, and then died of complications. Just one of those crazy random accidents, unfortunately, that sometimes takes people.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
Yeah, his cousin contacted me on Facebook and asked if I had any uh, photos of him or memorabilia. And Prince of Queens was very private about his personal life and
Yeah.
his actual uh, name. So he usually did not go. Usually didn't show his real face on streams.
Yeah, but you had talked to him a little bit, right?
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit on Twitter, and I was on one of his streams one time after the 2016 election just to talk about the weirdness that was happening, and he was on at least one of my streams.
Yeah, I remember
We
that.
chat back up occasionally on Twitter.
That's sad, man. He was a cool guy. He was funny, you know? He had a good sense of humor.
Yep. But I guess it kind of shows you to realize you can go at any time.
Yeah, anytime. You could be 1 minute here, the next minute gone. None of us are promised tomorrow, not even the next second, you know? Have an aneurysm and drop dead.
So yeah, I decided to tribute this stream to him, though we don't have anybody on. Um, but I'm sorry to see
Well,
that he's passed.
that's kind of how he would like it, though, right? A stream with nobody on.
Yeah, I would like to
Because he was kind of
have kind of
private.
view, man.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah,
You
it is
seem like a
New
cool
Year's.
guy, man.
Someone else is joining.
That's cool.
You just noticed?
Oh, wow. I just now moved my icon over to it. I'm now streaming from a different laptop. My normal laptop is in the shop right now, my MacBook Pro. Unfortunately, it had some issues. MacBook Pro's keyboards are incredibly fragile these days.
Yeah, they've changed the keyboard. I watched Louis Rossman, and the new keyboards are supposed to be awesome. They're better than the old butterfly ones.
Oh, so they've improved it in the current year?
Yeah, they got rid of the old ones because there were so many problems with them. That's the bad thing
Shit.
about Mac's hardware is their hardware sucks. It used to be it was good and then it would suck and then it would be good and then it would suck again. You
Yeah,
know.
my main laptop was a late 2018 MacBook, and I spec the thing out pretty freaking high. I paid way too much for the thing
Yeah, they
because I'm a
cost an
dumbass.
arm and a leg too. Yeah. I mean, they're
But
good machines. I don't want to say that they're not. They're good machines, but
so live feed. What is MagaCon or MangaCon? What is this conference you're at
Magfest,
or
you
we're
mean?
at?
hold on.
Magfest.
It is an absolutely enormous video game and music conference over in the near the DC area. It's comparable in size to DEF CON.
Shit. Yeah. People talk about DEF CON being huge, but when you compare it to like various gaming conventions,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Jason, can you mute
Yeah.
yourself when you're not speaking?
I didn't hear a
Yeah.
word you just said.
Yeah, it
I
broke
just
up a
asked
little.
Jason.
What'd you say?
I just asked Jason to mute himself when he's not speaking because
Oh,
he's got some background noise.
yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay, man. Yeah, people talk about how big DEF CON is, and I keep getting different numbers for how many people show up here. But yeah, DEF CON gets totally eclipsed by anything like a game convention. Like Gen Con up in Annapolis is freaking huge.
Well, I go by the numbers they on Wikipedia, and I know most recent numbers are towards the high 20,000s from what I saw, and it's like every 4 or 5 years the numbers double. I'm
Shit.
not sure it's going to keep up that pace, but anyways, MagFest as of
The
last
thing,
year was around 22,000 people.
shit.
Adrian.
I know last year also they had people from the demo scene actually trying to get more people in, to help keep that scene alive. Those of you listening who may not know what the demo scene was or is, at least back in the 90s, the most spectacular thing you could possibly see in the computer was not made by corporations. It was made by people from the demo scene who essentially created computer-generated graphics, as in they used algorithms. They wrote algorithms to generate the graphics themselves rather than drawing the artwork. And it was always a bit of a challenge to see, given the constraints of hardware back then, it was always a bit of a challenge to see what the most beautiful, amazing, and well-performing thing you could write within the 64 kilobyte limit of RAM. From the
Yeah, I
Commodore
saw some
64
stuff
days.
like on Apple IIe's. Though at Nauticon, that used to be in Cleveland, they had a small demo thing going on. Jason, you were about to ask me a question. What was it?
Well, it was along the same lines. Like, how do you feel about the corporatization of everything? The cons, hackers, infosec, just period.
Shit, I don't know. Well, unfortunately, because of the price of hotels and so forth, a certain amount of sacrifices had to be made to get shipped and so
Uh
forth.
huh.
So while I don't like some of the sacrifices, I understand why it has to be made. That said, it's not always the same across everything. By the way, Jason, can you mute yourself when you're not speaking? Thank you, man. There's a lot of background noise. How do I put it this way? For some things, unless I suppose you have a one-day conference at a bar or something, it's really hard to afford to put on a conference without having some concessions to sponsorship. Also, depending on the type of conference we're talking about, like a lot of B-sides, how do you put it this way? When I was doing video work for various conferences and getting promotions for whatever company I was working for, the conferences that were the less technical but more manager oriented, it was easier to get sponsorship for, and you could make more actual contacts with people that you could sell business to than, let's say, the average B-sides. Because the average B-sides, for the most part, and it varies wildly between B-sides, are usually enthusiasts showing up. So if you want to hire people for your for work, that's good. But if you want to sell like your pen testing service or your monitoring service, they weren't necessarily great.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Although I'm not sure how many people actually get hired through. I'm not sure how many people actually go to work for companies that market themselves at B-sides.
Probably not a whole lot. And maybe some just do it to put the name out there. And like on all the videos I do, I try to put, if someone sponsored a con, I try to get them all in the opening splash, so at least they get some name recognition value out of it.
Yeah, and that's reasonable. Yeah, but for an exception to what you mentioned, like a big conference that really didn't get very corporatized, Hope, decently sized, and they explicitly left Hotel Pennsylvania just so they wouldn't have to become corporatized.
Oh, they're no longer going to be at Pennsylvania?
No. After last year's several police incidents, plus the one medical incident that threatened to be significant liability for the hotel itself, their prices were tripled on them. I mean, the hotel tripled the price on the people who run Hope, and Hope released a statement saying we would have to become something we would not want to become if we were to still stay at Hotel Pennsylvania. So they moved to a new venue.
Okay.
And it's a shame, though. I'm glad I went to Hotel Penn at least once, because that was an experience. You know, I know I've said it before, but a hacker con in a hotel where nearly half the hotel is urban exploration.
I said I've never been to Hope, and I thought about going like over like 10 years ago or something, but it always seems so political to me that I don't know if I'd be exactly well suited for it.
Political is very much. Let me think that's the way I put it. Well, the most recent Hope absolutely had a very, very, very significant SJW presence. I would not consider it to be full groupthink in that regard, especially among the organizers. I actually had a chance to speak with some of the organizers at the most recent PumpCon. At least someone who said he was one of the organizers. I have no way of actually verifying if this statement is true or not. But among other things, he was very much. So first off, he claimed he was a person who got Chelsea Manning to, through his context, got Chelsea Manning to speak. And he said he regret ever doing that.
Oh, shit.
Because Manning, while Manning was running for office, was telling the Hope staff, there's so many hecklers here. This is awful. And
what here?
Hecklers.
Oh yeah,
critics. And the guy, at PumpCon, the guy was telling me she was running for office. She should expect hecklers. Like, how can you possibly expect to be shielded from critics when you are a fucking politician? That was his argument.
That's true enough.
And he also he also was not a fan. He definitely said it was not worth it to have those certain SJW panels at the most recent Hope. Though he said they went through the normal approval process and got approved by the board, and he personally did not have any hand getting those approved, but he definitely thinks that if it was his choice, if it were happened again, he would not have given them the okay. In no small part because of the shitstorms they caused, police incident, a number of other incidents that contributed towards Hope no longer being at Hotel Pennsylvania.
Bummer for them. I know it's held every 2 years, but how many have they done so far?
I don't know. That sounds like a question for Google.
All right, we have some other people who have joined in. I think Dex Dev and also, of course, Darren regulars joined in. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. What's up?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot in the show notes. I had a cast tonight because one of my regulars requested it. Also, I didn't want to go so many Wednesdays without having a cast. It just happens that New Year's and New Year's Day and Christmas happen to fall both on Wednesdays.
It's the upcoming Hope is the 13th Hope.
So they've been doing it for almost around. I'd have to actually look at which year they started. So about 26 years.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I ever actually met Emmanuel Goldstein. I know I've encountered him or saw him at one of the old Nauticons in Cleveland. Nauticon used to be a bigger deal, and that's one of the cons I look to see how do you make sure your con keeps going on. Because Nauticon, there was a con before Nauticon. I don't remember what it was called right now, but there was a con before them. Then Nauticon started because that one ended. Nauticon kept getting an upsurge in attendance, and they got some pretty big name people there. But then all of a sudden it dropped off massively. And Froggy, one of the guys who used to run Nauticon, posted a graph of that. There's such a saturation in those kind of conferences. I guess it's hard to differentiate yourself anymore. But there's other conferences that just keep going and going, and a lot of people seem to get decent attendance at the random B-sides local.
Well, I mean, you've absolutely gone to a lot more conferences than I have, but just given the conferences I've gone to, it feels like a lot of them try to copy from each other. Most of the time, it feels like I'm just going to the same conference and with a different scenery. There's a few exceptions to that. DEF CON, Hope, and a scattering of others. It's if they want to differentiate themselves, they should not try to copy everything. Like all B-sides should not try to be the same, but they feel the same.
But on the other side, there's the argument that if you know something works, you repeat it.
Fair. In that regard, try to do something to differentiate. Repeat a lot, but don't try to make yourself a carbon copy with just a different locale.
I'd be interested in hearing your experiences on that. And I think you're on a different chat with me about an upcoming conference in Southern Indiana, aren't you?
I mean, I'm in a number of chats, and possibly in that chat you're referring to.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly to differentiate. I just want a good conference that's mostly all technical content and no drama.
Well, given that, I think the con as it is would probably be differentiated enough just by the size for this year, and also most likely the attendance base being mostly a lot of people just don't give a fuck about a lot of the political drama. But let's face it, man. Drama will happen eventually from the expected corners. It's you know it will.
What corner is that?
What's the best way? Was that?
What corner is that?
Adrian's
SJW?
Adrian's normal critics.
Oh yeah, they're funny.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So I can't see any way it won't. Maybe not this year. Maybe not next year, but I can't imagine that they will just quietly slink away and not bother anyone.
They're peanut butter and jealous.
Yeah, I don't think people have the concept that not every conference is for everybody. And not everybody has to cater to everybody. Like I'm a lock picker. I enjoy lock picking, but I'm not going to go into a crochet convention and demand that everybody start lock picking instead of crocheting.
Now I have a mental picture of crocheted locks and crocheted keys.
That might be kind of cool.
It would. I would like to see that.
Yeah, the problem is if you start trying to say don't tread on it, well, they'll start going, well, it needs to be more inclusive, blah 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 blah. So you know how that
But
argument works out.
the thing I noticed about the inclusive group, the people who are saying this needs to be more inclusive, this needs to be more inclusive, is they will willingly exclude anybody who disagrees with them.
Well, it's not your definition of
Yeah,
inclusive; it's their definition of inclusive.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
it's the irony, you know, the anti-fascist, you know, Antifa calling for things, yet that's kind of being fascist. So I'm pretty sure the irony is so thick that's why they can't see it because it's just yeah. That's got to be the reason why they can't see it because the irony is just so fucking thick.
Oh yeah, I caught some shit from people because I referred to the Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, and I'm like, okay, they assaulted Bunny Bro because he was waving an American flag, and they thought that was a fascist symbol. They redirect traffic in Portland. They hit people over the head with bike locks. They try to burn down an ICE facility. By the way, guys, if I'm ever trapped in a prison cell or something like that, like if I'm incarcerated for some reason, whatever the fuck you guys do in my support, don't burn down the fucking facility while I'm in it.
So you're saying someone from Antifa was locked up and then someone burned down the jail?
No, actually, it was an ICE facility, so they had illegal immigrants that were inside the facility.
Ah.
But someone tried to firebomb the fucking facility.
Yeah, that person may not have had many brain cells to rub together.
I would guess.
Or as an alternative, maybe he just secretly really hated Mexicans.
I mean, they joined Antifa, they couldn't exactly have had too many to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some crazy motherfucker online calling me a fascist and shit because of my talk about 4chan and bombing and them calling an airstrike on ISIS and shit. There's some crazy motherfuckers out there.
I thought that was an interesting talk. Because
Someone called me a fascist because of that talk.
Well, a lot of people who criticize 4chan don't really know much about anything that goes on with 4chan other than what leaks out of it. So the stuff that really stays on 4chan or this just does not leak into Twitter or Tumblr or whatever, they don't really see or hear about.
I mean, calling someone a fascist is kind of or a Nazi or whatever is a shortcut because it's a cop out. You're trying to say I disagree with you, but you can't give a valid reason, so you resort to name calling. It's no different than saying, "Oh, I disagree with you because you're a poopy head." Well, that's wonderful, but it doesn't change anything about what the person said.
See, I consider myself a right-leaning libertarian. And what that means to me is I think you should be allowed to do anything you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. That said, it's on your own ass if what you choose to do fucks you up.
I would most characterize myself as a left-leaning libertarian. Largely the same thing there, but I do support social welfare programs. And I very much do not lean towards the ANCAP side.
how do you put it this way?
Yeah.
I like the ANCAPs in general principle, but I don't think the thoughts are workable. I guess I'd be a minarchist, if anything. But I'm not going to get
I
in
mean,
someone else's way of how they want to live their life.
yeah, end caps are funny to watch. It's kind of the whole thing there, because it's obvious when you sit them down for 5 minutes, they have no fucking clue how the world works. They have no fucking clue about how economic policy works. So they're amusing to watch. It's kind of like watching the Bernie Bros go, "Oh, we're gonna get rid of college debt without raising taxes." Well, how the fuck are you gonna do that, genius? Okay, that's what I thought.
By taxing investors mainly.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
But yeah,
Oh,
it's
hell. I'm about to retweet stuff that's going to get me in trouble. That's funny.
Wait. Now or like, you do all the damn time, Adrian. You do all the damn time, Adrian.
Oh yeah.
I
I just, you know how I post a lot of Baby Yoda memes, and one of them was like the most hated person because there was this one stormtrooper who was talking about punching Baby Yoda, and now someone posted a meme of this very pretty girl being looked at by a stormtrooper, and it's captioned, "I'd hit that like a Baby Yoda in a canvas bag." Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's funny as fuck.
That's great.
I'm sorry, continue. I'm going to go and get some more meat. I'll be right back.
Oh, I was just about to say I'll be right back so I can take out the recyclables.
All right. That means that I think who's still on? Darren and my vision is so bad, my eyesight. Jex and Devin, talk for a bit. Jex and Darren, I mean. Shit.
What's up, Darren?
Hey. But earlier I was late because I was dealing with the transfers, so that was fun.
So it's mostly like security talk, or
yeah,
whatever.
we do a lot of security, infosec, firearms talk too, because we're all kind of gunnies. See, I mean, kind of general shit posting about identity politics and all of that. It's kind of a whole melange of things.
Cool. Well, most definitely. I mean, I followed Adrian on Twitter for a while, but mostly for the video, the cons that always get posted on his YouTube channel, which are awesome.
Yeah. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
I work in IT.
Okay, well you're among people there, so more
Well,
specific.
people don't necessarily want to give too much information about themselves because.
Oh no, I know. That's what I'm saying. Go as specific as you want. So.
Yeah.
You get your name, social security number. No. Just
I know,
just
right?
like an overview of what you do.
I've posted to Metasploit before, and I've got some stuff in there.
Okay. So you do more information security work?
No.
No?
No, just any and everything you could say. You could
Okay.
say. Yeah. Databases, SA, networking, security, programming, pretty much everything.
Nice.
What about yourself?
I mostly do sysadmin work. It's my main focus, but I also do infosec as well on the side. But of course, being a sysadmin, doing it for over 10 years, you touch a lot of shit. Done application work. I'm a passable DBA, so kind of a jack of all trades for myself.
Nice.
And most people on the cast are pretty heavily in the security side. I know Cappy does a lot of physical security, a lot of physical pen testing and digital, but there's a lot of physical stuff. I think Adrian is a pen tester, I believe.
I was. I'm now
Okay.
more general security advisory.
Yeah.
I don't tell where I work necessarily. Someone has to do some
Right.
social. Someone has to do some OSN on me to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I have all sorts of weirdos coming out of the woodworks to fuck with me, so I keep that semi-private.
Yeah. Jack and Ricky are both, I think, security response. Actually, I don't know what Liz does, but I'm sure he'll tell us when he gets back. But yeah, most of the cast is infosec people, kind of generally through and through. Oh, Israel. I think Israel is. Isn't he IR as well?
IR and monitoring.
Monitoring. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, they're all blue teamers. I mean, I think Ricky is kind of purple. I think
Back.
Jack is. Oh, hey Liz. So that's actually kind of giving ideas of like what small the cast people do. What is it you do in InfoSec exactly? I forget.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm a threat analyst.
Okay, so you're a blue team. Yeah, I think most of the cast members are blue team except for Adrian and Ricky, right?
I mean, profession-wise, I suppose so. I mean, I have my OSCP, but that
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
really make me a red teamer.
Whoa. Yeah.
It makes you capable of being dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not as much as it used to be, because everything these days is like web attack, web attack, web attack, and the OSCP is maybe like 20, maybe 30% web attacks.
Okay. So OSCP is one of the few certifications I see as being well respected amongst people in the know. Probably the most respected as far as people who are just hiring is probably still CISSP. My understanding is we actually had this conversation on a work thread recently about what certifications are really well respected. My understanding in the government, even though a lot of other people don't respect it, the government apparently still has a thing for what is it, certified ethical hacker.
Yeah, like there's a lot of similarities with how CH and CISSP are kind of marketed. You have to have X number of years of professional experience before you're even allowed to take it. They heavily encourage their own training courses and discourage you from taking the actual exam until after you've paid them separately for their training courses.
Yeah. You have to have
It's
someone vouch for you.
uh, I don't.
That
From
used
what
to
I
be a thing
saw,
for CISSP at least. Where you have to basically
yeah,
have someone saying, yeah, what you're saying is true, but I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
I don't know if it's still a thing for the CSSP. I don't think that's a thing for the CEH. But yeah, it's more so they try to create the impression that it is exclusive, well respected. You have to really know your stuff to get this done.
Yeah, it's something I like about the Red Hat certs because they jump you into a environment and you don't have internet access, so they tell you a bunch of problems and solutions and how to do things, and basically you have to do it. Your only reference is the manual or help commands. So it's not rote memorization like CISSP or CEH. It's actually a tested skill, which most certs unfortunately are not.
Yeah, I would like to take a test, a pen testing test that is focused much more on web attacks. I think offensive security has a web attack centered cert. I don't know how up to date it is. Like, does it cover things such as template injection? I have no idea.
So, Adrian, have we covered any of the show notes? What little there is?
Very little. I started talking about the Internet of Device vendor raise, but I just read the first few headlines of the article. That's about it.
Hmm.
So I
I
thought
heard.
Frank was going to be on because Frank, I think, requested something about doing the chat tonight, but he's not on. There's not been a whole lot added to show notes, and as you know, I'm mostly here for my channel and name and my name. I don't add a whole lot. I gotta admit, my cast is usually run by other people.
Well, let's see. Krebs. Yeah, I know. Think of what you will. Recently tweeted out about how a data broker. Let's see where it's located from. Located in Tallahassee, Florida, appear to be sending letters to people who have never done business with them, saying, "We're sorry, we lost all your personal information. Here's LifeLock." And I'm seeing people making jokes where the letter says, "We have learned that an unauthorized individual may have accessed your personal information without your consent." And you got to think. Well, first off, it says you may likely have never heard of us, but an unauthorized individual may have your information without your consent, and it's quite a strange framing. I mean, are they saying that you gave consent to this company that they admit you've never heard of?
So wait, who's the company?
The company is Delve Point.
Yeah, I have no idea who the hell that is. Okay.
It's just a very strange world in legality where your company can flat out admit you've never heard of us, but you've given us consent to have your information. It is pure legal fantasy.
Well, I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, for example, anyone here who's listened to us has heard us talk about credit monitoring, credit bureaus, because of the Equifax breach. So Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, but there's actually a data warehouse company called Innovis that has pretty much the whole information all together, and no one's probably ever heard of them, but they have your information as well. So if they got breached, it's Equifax all over again.
Yeah, this is. So, I've seen people making jokes saying, my information's been breached so many times, I've gotten LifeLock 4 times. Do we get a free pizza after the 5th LifeLock? Or credit monitoring service?
Yeah, I think all those, what is it, LifeLock and all the other things are pretty much a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, because they only alert you when something happens. They don't actually help you fix it.
Our laws really are not up to snuff on this kind of stuff. When a company barely has to have a wrist slap when they have lost everything.
Yeah, plus with like insurance everywhere, you pretty much get everything back, but like I don't know if there's a way that you could operate digitally in any world where like anything doesn't get leaked or some information doesn't get stolen. It seems pretty easy. You would have to like work like some super duper hacker ninja that only has certain things in certain places and shit like that. I don't see anybody operating in any way where they don't get anything leaked. So seems inevitable. What do you guys think?
Can you repeat that last bit? I was making myself dinner.
Give your data to as few people as possible.
Yeah, that's what I think.
The problem with that idea is if you read a lot of agreements, they have agreements in place to share your data with unknown parties. It's known to them and not to you. So
yeah, that's the thing where you have given consent to have your personal information shared with our affiliates, unnamed affiliates. Well, you have given consent to a potentially infinite number of organizations to have your information. That is the world the law allows.
Even if you know who they are, like say, Yahoo will only share with Company X. Well, does Yahoo Company X's agreement, prohibit sharing outside of company X? Can they sub-farm that data out to another provider? Can I have a subcontractor in there to do some kind of analytics or whatever? Well, you don't know that.
Yeah, it is like a legal fantasy that powers much of the data broker industry. And I don't know how big the data broker industry is. Like, what kind of economic impact would it be to completely crush the industry until there is nothing left?
Pretty damn big. I mean, keep in mind the fact that a lot of it is also public records driven. So, your information's a lot of your information's already public information out there. Your name, date of birth, all that stuff. So, all the fun bits, like your shopping habits, things like that. Those are more inferred based upon various other things. So.
So is anybody looking forward to anything big in the next year? Well,
Yeah,
that's
I am
not me.
for my business at least, but it's not really IT related.
Oh, yes. Is it okay to talk about what your business is?
Oh, sure. I mean, firearms business, so there's
Yeah, I
that.
got some crazy motherfucker trying to red flag my ass on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because he's just talking about, he shows all the signs of being a mass shooter. Okay, I have guns. I like guns. And I'm a right-leaning libertarian. And I have this crazy motherfucker wanting to come after me for shit. I'm like, exercise me? I'm like, dude.
Is it just like troll stuff or like
No,
actual
he's
threats?
more a troll. I think he's just a mentally ill person who supports Antifa.
Gotcha.
Are you talking about that one person who lives near me?
No, not even a person I think lives near you. Some dude named Panther goes by the name Panther Modern.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about what's her name? The one who lives over in Plano.
Oh, that nut job.
That
No.
yeah, that chick who was going to speak at
He was in a
B-Sides
thread of
VFW.
hers. I think
Okay.
he was a thread of hers. But yeah, no, she's a different issue entirely. I'm thinking bipolar disorder. I don't know what the hell to think about them.
But no, actually, I got my SOT paperwork in, so I've actually ordered a couple suppressors for demo, and this year I'm going to build a couple machine guns because I can.
Yeah, enjoy, have fun. I know a bunch of people
Oh
are
yes.
whining, and I know there's a Hillary Clinton thing about well, what if the guy who was in Vegas who did the shooting had a suppressor? I'm like, first of all, he was using rifles. Generally, you don't put suppressors on rifles.
No, not. I
They
mean,
wouldn't last very
you
fucking long.
can. No, you can. I mean, they'll last a while. The problem is because most rifle rounds are supersonic, it won't really do a whole lot. I mean, it doesn't make them hearing safe. So
And so I thought within a few shots, it would basically make it useless.
no, suppressors are pretty good at that. I mean, they'll outlast a full auto fire. But the only problem with rifles is because they're supersonic. So the bullet itself will still make a supersonic crack, the thunder boom. But it may reduce the report of the actual discharge, but the round itself will still make that supersonic crack.
Yeah, that it's strange how that particular shooting disappeared from the news eventually, because I'm still curious about various reports of weirdness about who all was in the room, what all was said before the concert, what all happened. I'm still confused exactly what all happened at that incident.
Yeah, a lot of us are.
I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but there was something about that where the reporting just kind of ended and it wasn't very satisfactory about why did he do it, who else was involved, and etc.
They kind of like hushed it up and pushed it away right away. I didn't. Yeah, like I feel like they didn't like dive deep into it. Kind of like the same way they did with McVeigh. They didn't really explain him too much. I think now I'm barely starting to see stuff about McVeigh, but I don't even know if it's true or not. You know.
So I gotta admit, McVeigh has been a little bit before my time on the internet as far as constantly monitoring what's all's going on. I thought McVeigh was pretty well covered as far as he had a major problem with the federal government, and so he blew up a federal government building.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that one disappeared quite as much.
If any of you,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying it's kind of funny how fast the that Texas shooter, the church shooting, how that went off the media real fast. Because yeah, that got that ended really fast.
Yeah.
So
I've
why
seen a lot of
did that
memes
get off
about
the
it though.
media?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Why did that die in the media? Like, it wasn't like, what was it about the shooter which caused media to like say, oh, okay, we're not going to cover this much? Like,
Because the
the body
media
count
doesn't
was
like the
3?
idea of a narrative where a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a
Yo.
gun. The media hates that narrative and they're not going to cover it. Now, I've seen some lefties still try to, and well, lefty maybe it's not the right term, try to say, well, why did a churchgoer have a gun? It's fucking Texas. Fuck
I
off.
do have one
The
question about
dude
that.
was a trained.
Well, so
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, there was actually like 6 people in there who had a gun. If you actually look at one of the videos, I'm like, you see like 5 people sitting with guns in their hands.
I
So
Yeah,
I
there was one
saw that
man who
video.
was like a There was one man who
I
was a
saw the video.
firearms trainer who happened to be there, and within like what 6 seconds, the guy got he shot 2 people and killed them. Unfortunately, I think one died in the hospital, one died instantly. And but within 6 seconds, there was one of the deacons who happened to be there for security, who was like a trained firearms trainer who drilled the guy in the head in like 6 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that. So, I mean, the argument from the lefty standpoint is the guy was there as security. That really would not be a very fair good guy with a gun beats a bad guy with a gun scenario when the good guy with a gun is security rather than a random civilian.
he was voluntary security though.
But again, yes, but again, he was there as security. He wasn't just some random person who happened to have an open carry.
Though he was a member of the church and apparently a deacon in the church, and he just happened to be one of his tasks at the church was to be security. Now, that wasn't one of my things. My uncle was a big firearms guy, and he was a deacon in his church. But I think in general, the deacons in the church I was at when I was a kid, their thing was more making sure communion got served properly. But he wasn't. Some people were trying to portray it like he was hired security or something for the place. But my understanding, he was just a parishioner who happened to be a deacon in the church, and one of his tasks was security for the congregation.
Right. It's like I'm not arguing against open carry. I'm just saying that specific scenario was maybe not the best example of a good guy with a gun beats a bad guy with a gun. Because typically, whenever I hear that argument, it's usually referencing a support for concealed carry or open carry, rather than here's a person set aside specifically for the purposes of shooting people who try to kill others.
Yeah, it's probably not the best argument for it. But I've also seen some people who try to straw man it into something more than what he was. He just happened to be a parishioner who had that task. I don't know. And also, I've also seen it put forth that most people don't have the training that gentleman had to be able to do what he did. Because I saw the pictures and looking at the distance, and I certainly wouldn't be able to pull off an easy headshot at that distance.
Something else to consider that people have brought up several times is the first guy who got shot was actually reaching for a gun, but he carried small back with a poor holster, and that's probably what got him killed because he sat there fumbling with it for a few seconds, which made the gunman go on him. So if he had actually carried concealed or open in the proper holster, like on his side versus small back, he probably would have shot before the gunman, and no one would have died except the gunman. But that's armchair quarterbacking, though.
So what was the motive of the gunman anyway?
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
No one knows. It's still TBD. I mean, he actually had gone to the church before and asked for money from them and got pissed off when they said no. So he was they gave him food instead. And he's a violent felon. He's got a pretty long history. So who knows? Might just be a mental illness. Might be some dude who said they fucking slighted me. God knows at this point.
And this is something we have to probably speak on carefully, but this is something that kind of concerns me. What's going on with all the attacks on Jewish people in New York recently?
So I don't know how many attacks against Jewish people in New York there are. I mean, this is like the third or fourth one I've heard in the past few years. But I mean, obviously there must be more. Are there how many of them are carried out by the Black Israelites versus other demographics? I don't know these numbers.
I know she had to delete a tweet real quick because she started blaming white supremacy for I think a shooting at they refer to it as a bodega. It was some kind of convenience store. It was some kind of convenience store that was ran by Jewish people, and some people shot it up, and she was talking about white supremacy and so forth, and ended up the two perpetrators were black folks who were tied to the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Which, for all intents and purposes, is a black supremacist group.
Yeah, a lot of rhetoric. I looked into them a little bit. Mostly, they just seem to annoy people on the street.
Those are the best YouTube videos, by the way. Those are so funny.
Some of those videos are
it's like
funny.
trolling
Yes.
101. How to right there.
It's trolling 101. Shout at Jewish people that Hitler did nothing wrong.
Shit. But Hitler wouldn't necessarily like the Black Hebrew Israelites either.
Probably not. But from the Black Israelite standpoint, Hitler was just trying to help correct history by getting rid of those fake white Israelites.
They have a lot of revisionist history. A lot of the Black Hebrew Israelite stuff. It's been about a year since I've looked into it. They have a lot of weird views. Like they'll view that all the Israelites originally were black. Comes from like a weird interpretation of the King James Bible. And then you might point out to them, well, King James was a white guy, and they'll tell you, no, King James was actually a black guy.
Yeah, all I know, I first got exposed to the whole Black Israelite thing from some of the trolling circles I follow a number of years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. They just had a whole expose on Black Israelites and just became just meme after meme after meme about these people reinterpreting every single important historical figure unknown to man as being black. Yeah. And it was also recordings of them shouting horrible stuff on the streets to people and just generally being awful. I am, it's kind of annoyed that this goes down to standard progressive playbook as the shooters are black. We must not oversimplify this matter by saying it's a racial thing. We must say there's a long and complex history between these two demographics, and we should not jump to any kind of wide sweeping conclusions.
I find it interesting that like the case of about a year ago, the Covington kids and so forth. The kid basically just stood there with a strange expression on his face, going, "What the fuck's going on here?" He got huge shit, and the Black Hebrew Israelites, who were apparently throwing out homophobic slurs before that, got portrayed as like, what was it, black street preachers or something? And I'm like, it's a little more than that.
I mean, if we really want to take that to its logical conclusion, preaching hate is still technically preaching.
Yeah.
Come on, Liv. You can't really say that. That's just not right.
Am I wrong?
That's one of those technically no moments, but when you get to that point, you know.
Yeah, it's a group that I like to do some more research, and I've listened to him a little bit. I know Jesse Lee Peterson. I watched a few interviews of him, those people, and then that brings the lovely topic of what is left wing and what is right wing, because various people who are white ethno nationalists are called right wing, but people who are black ethno nationalists, let's say Louis Farrakhan, get labeled left. But these people have actually had back and forth on Twitter where they want to talk to each other because they both want the same thing, just for different racial groups. So it's kind of like, all right, why is one right and why is one left when they basically want the same thing just for a different group? And I must say, I don't support any of the motherfuckers. I'm for integration of everybody. But I'm a little confused on what makes something right and what makes something left based on some of those Twitter exchanges.
I mean, it's kind of like the over-labeling of things as, alt-right. It's, you have certain viewpoints even tangentially related to what would be classically defined as alt-right, and all of a sudden, well, you're fucking alt-right too.
Well, yeah, I saw someone label Ben Shapiro alt-right. Got more abuse from those motherfuckers than anybody because the alt-right Ben Shapiro is a very Jewish individual. I mean, wears the yarmulke out in public, talks about his Judaism all the time. And the alt-right doesn't really like Jewish people very much because they have various conspiracy theories about them. So I don't know. The media is shit. Let's just face it. They don't research shit. Because you're calling Ben Shapiro alt-right. I'm like, have you really been paying attention?
Well, I mean, there's really no punishment for a journalistic outfit to put correct news. I mean, they can say all kinds of wacky shit. I mean, the most that could be done is they could be sued for, I guess, slander or libel, whichever was the one that's applicable. But okay,
it's my understanding
good luck.
it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, you have to prove it, and that's hard to prove.
Yeah, my standing, what is it? I think it's easier to prove slander or libel in Canada than it is the United States, if I recall correctly.
Well, because you have to prove it caused some material harm, and that's very difficult to do. So.
Yeah, granted, if someone's calling Ben Shapiro alt-right, it's probably not going to do a whole lot of material harm to him because anybody's going to listen to people calling Ben Shapiro alt-right is probably not someone who would like Ben Shapiro to begin with. But it's kind of ridiculous to call someone alt-right when he's a Jewish dude who's in a mixed race marriage. It's just fucking dumb.
I mean, that was always a funny example too for people calling what's his name, the gay guy from England,
Milo
like black guys. Yeah, Milo. Thank you. Yeah, because he loved black dick. It's like, he's gay and for interracial marriage. It's like
Some of the weirdest shit I've seen surrounding Milo.
Wait, what?
Like some of the really weird shit I've seen surrounding Milo. It's like one of the things he did was campaigned against gay marriage. And so I saw some of his supporters were like tradcons, that were like, I normally don't like gay people, but Milo, this Milo guy, he's all right.
Yeah, he did say some negative things about gay marriage, and then he ended up getting fucking married.
Yeah, like Milo is his politics are what would get the most attention. That's Milo's politics.
He's
a troll.
definitely a drama whore as far as getting attention for himself. But you know what? Who ultimately took him down was not the left wing. It was right wing people who took him down because I think it was
The pedo stuff.
The Reagan Rebellion started posting various things about stuff he said on in podcasts or YouTube streams that they interpreted as supporting pedophilia.
Apparently, that kind of stuff that he said would not have really batted an eye in the UK, but in the US, it's apparently it's mainly he thought it was okay because the guys from the UK and everything, and like how he phrased what he's phrased was fine over there, but obviously not over here. But
and homophobia does play into that, I think, to a degree, because if I'd come out on a cast and said, well, sometimes it's good for a teenage boy to have an older woman indoctrinate, not indoctrinate, it's not the right term, bring him into the fold in sexuality and train him in the ways of pleasing a woman and so forth. If they said something like that, it's still fucking creepy, but I don't think it would have triggered as much people. Like if he had done something about, I was a teenage boy and this 30-something-year-old woman taught me the ways of love or something like that, or I don't think it would have been received quite the same way. And no, I'm not advocating that. I'm not, but I don't think it would have triggered people the same way.
Yeah, I'm not advocating anything along that lines. What he said was, it was an instant, his career is over kind of thing. I'm not sure how he's been coasting since then. Somehow he's been coasting. I don't know what money.
Apparently, he's still working some for Gavin McInnes's. It was Free Speech TV, and now it's, I think, censored TV. So I'm assuming they had a copyright issue or a trademark issue with someone else. But my notwithstanding, he's still working. I think he's working for Gavin McInnes right now.
Huh. How much money does Gavin even have?
Apparently, he made a whole lot of bank off of when they sold Vice, which may be in the tank now. But my understanding, he made some money off of Vice.
All right.
The .com boom was a weird fucking thing, and I think he sold maybe post .com boom, but there were people who bought into Vice, even though it may not have been worth much, and it's definitely way different than it was back when he was still involved with it. But I actually listened to his autobiography. I think it's called The Death of Cool, and I get the impression he made a lot of money off of Vice.
That's likely. And just still, though, keeping that money for 20 years is not. I mean, that's an impressive degree of self-restraint, spending-wise.
Yeah, I don't know how lavish a lifestyle he leads necessarily, but yeah, it is an interesting question. But I think Milo and notoriety can coast for at least a little bit. Also, I don't know what his husband does for a living, so maybe
that's a thought. Most of what I know about Milo these days is that he has some Telegram channel. He relatively recently, publicized he was going to attend a furry conference. Then the furry conference banned him. And then Milo was saying, fuck it, I'm still going anyway because I have a room at the hotel. But I didn't actually hear...
I love you, Liz. I'm still going to say this. How bad do you have to be to get kicked out of a furry conference? I love you, Liz, but I had to
wait. Do I need to play that Fur Fiesta video or whatever the hell it was?
Not many people get banned from a furry conference. No, this is above and beyond. I really don't want to elaborate on that, but That's a great
Milo's
question.
persona? I gotta know, what is Milo's persona?
Someone from the alt furs drew him one during Gamergate. It looked like a bobcat.
Oh, okay. See, if I was a furry, I'd be a raccoon because I love raccoons. They're adorable.
That's surprising. I would have thought you'd be a hedgehog.
Well, the hedgehog thing comes from a friend who we were at DippyCon 4. She brought me booze, and I patted her head and said, "Thank you, nice hedgehog lady," or something like that, because she's a small woman of Italian heritage. She has dark black hair, but she had dyed it or bleached it blonde and spiked it, so she looked like an African pygmy hedgehog. Um, and ever since then, I did a running joke, and then eventually I just really like images of hedgehogs because I think hedgehogs are cute too. But as far as spirit animals are concerned, I like raccoons because, I'm slightly pudgy, larcenous, and I eat trash.
Mongooses are badass.
That's not a bad animal either. But I'm too fat to be a mongoose.
I don't judge. It's okay.
Possums also eat trash, don't they?
Yeah, but I don't think they're as badass as a raccoon. A raccoon will fucking fight you. A possum will kind of turn tail or play dead. A raccoon will just try to fuck you up, even if it
A
can't.
possum will try and fuck you up too if you really corner them. If you corner them and they have no choice to fight, they will fucking fight. They'll do everything they
Okay,
can not to fight, but they fucking will.
Huh.
but a possum isn't as ornery as a raccoon, is it?
Oh no, they'll like I said, they'll do everything they can to avoid fighting. Like they'll play dead, they'll pee, they'll spit and hiss to look big. But you corner them and you give them no choice. Oh yeah, they'll fucking go out. But uh, a raccoon will probably start a fight before a possum does. Not to mention that raccoons can carry rabies. That makes it worse.
Raccoons are vicious. Well, yeah, I get Dr. Jason. Unfortunately, I know there's raccoons in my area, but I don't ever see them. I see footprints occasionally. I see ones dead along the road, but they seem to be more secretive.
That's kind of a good thing because if they're getting bold enough to start making themselves known to you, they'll start getting more aggressive then too. That's a problem back in California is coyotes start getting really bold. I mean, I see them walking down the street in the middle of the fucking day, which is really weird because they operate mostly at dusk and dawn, and they seem very shy of people. But when they're bold of you, they'll start attacking kids and whatnot too, in addition to all your pets. So
Yeah, my staying in northern Indiana, there's various laws that allow you to cull coyotes. Uh, I know I have a friend who was talking about going after my buddy's farm, and she was going to let him take out some coyotes because I think they've been fucking with her chickens and shit.
That sounds cool. Oh, the other day I was watching a video on YouTube. It's like helicopter hog hunts in Texas. You seen those?
oh yeah,
The
we
hogs are
do
no
that.
joke, man. I saw an article a while back about some lady who got mauled by a bunch of hogs and died.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. They'll like eat you.
Yes,
Man,
they will.
my uncle took out a hog way back, and when he passed away, I gave his hog head to my favorite pub. They put up on the wall next to a picture of Eisenhower and a picture of Frank Zappa, and they put a pimp hat on its head. You you can find it on my Twitter feed someplace. There's an image of my uncle's hog head with a pimp hat near Frank Zappa and a Dwight D. Eisenhower photo.
Yeah, I saw a video a few years ago of a guy who was doing some hog hunting, and he was hunting with a bolt-action rifle, and he shot it with the rifle, and he didn't kill it, and that hog came right for him, and the only thing that saved his ass was he actually carried a sidearm with him and put a couple rounds into it and dropped it that way, because yeah, it would have made him into lunch.
Yeah, because hogs eat
I
pretty much everything. They're
hog
omnivores, right?
hogs are omnivorous. So they will eat anything, everything. I mean, that's an old way to get rid of bodies. You dump a body into a pig farm, and pigs take care of it.
Well, I don't think we have a whole lot more to say on the cast, so I think we'll probably go off of YouTube, but I'll keep the Jitsi chat going. Does that sound good, folks?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, folks,
Yeah,
give me
man.
just a second. Hopefully, catch you next Wednesday. We'll have more actual technical content. But everybody, Happy New Year's.
Yeah, have a good one. Happy New Year.
Let everyone.